Let's go on to the player rating, starting off with Fraser Forster. 3s all round for Fraser. An absolute horror show from him, to be honest. And every cross that he was coming to, he was flapping to, he was trying to catch it, not catching it, had to make a second attempt at it. Terrible playing out the back. One springs to mind that he tried to play a ball to Lucas Bergvall that put us under pressure. That mad moment when he comes rushing out and Ben Davies has to spare his blushes. Just poor all round.
Yeah, and considering I said to you before the game, I got a feeling that he's going to give Forster the cup games and give and play Vicario in Europe in the Premier League. And if he's going to be in the cup games, we might not be making it far in the cups because he was just shambles. Look, to be fair to him, and he did make some good saves. So at that point, that kind of kept us in the game.
That's why he gets a 3.
That's why he gets a 3, because he spilled the ball 4 times, I counted, and had to gather it up at the second attempt. He played the ball straight out the back in the first minute, straight to a Coventry player who could have scored. And then he got in a muddle with Dragusin and gave Coventry a completely open goal. We just got away with that one thanks to the clearance off the line from Davies. So, I just thought he was shaky all game. He was shambolic. He looked bad from crosses as well. So it just wasn't encouraging at all. And
I hope Ange actually looks at that now and being like, look, you're past it now. You can't play it. You can't play for Tottenham anymore. You just can't. Like, you can't put in that performance against a championship side and be like, all right, I'm going to get the next cup game.
And he's an experienced player, you know what I mean? So, I don't think it's a case where, he's come in, he's getting overruled by the occasion or anything. This is a 36-year-old keeper who's been there and done that. I think we're just seeing his level at the moment. Yeah.
And you can't tell me Brandon Austin is that much worse than that. Surely not.
I don't know. I just haven't seen Austin in a competitive game.
Yeah. Next up, Archie Gray, 5s all round. I thought there was good in there, and there was also bad in there. And I think the good, he was showing really nice opportunities on the ball, where he was getting on the ball and showing some really good spreading of the play and good passing to progress us up the pitch. But he just struggled massively defensively. They kept getting in behind him time and time again. And look, it's going to be a big learning curve for him, that.
Yeah, I think he struggled defensively. I think they have clearly got some fast wingers, and they were finding all sorts of space now, hitting it early. And Gray was struggling to get back in position a lot. I thought on the ball he looked as composed as we always seen him. I thought he won some free kicks. He was doing played some good balls to Brennan Johnson as well. So there was some good stuff there from Archie Gray on the ball. But he's got to work on the positioning he was in the fullback and just giving too much encouragement to their winger, because he struggled to contain them.
Radu Dragusin up next. Sim gives him a 4. I gave him a 5, but you know what? I probably agree with you on the 4, to be honest. I was being a bit kind. But with Radu, I felt like he kept getting caught out. He wasn't as aggressive as maybe he usually is. And we were talking about his playing out the back as well, which I thought was poor. You know what? We were talking in the build-up to this game saying Radu Dragusin is definitely going to play in this game, and he needs to have a good game because Romero's not having the best of it at the moment. And if he has a good game, he can stake a claim for that first team spot. And he did anything but that, and Romero has to come back in on the weekend.
Yeah, he struggled. Maybe it was because he was next to Ben Davies, but I thought he struggled to deal with Bassett, their striker. Whenever there was a one-on-one, I actually, when Romero's squared up one-on-one the defender, I've got no doubt that Romero's going to win that ball and he's going to come away with it. But Dragusin really struggled to contain him. I think a few times he allowed Bassett to get the shot off, and Forster had to make some saves. I thought on the ball as well, passing was nowhere near good enough. There was one moment, I remember in the second half, he had so much time on the ball. He's looking up, looking for a run to look for or someone to pass to, and he had some options, and he just decides to go long to Sarr, and it just he overhits it, goes out for a goal kick, and it was so frustrating. He just doesn't have the on-ball quality of Romero at the moment, I think. But I just think he generally struggled up against the Coventry backline. And again, the way we play, he's going to be put under pressure, so I give him some leeway for that. But I just thought he really struggled yesterday, and he kept getting caught out with the balls over the top as well. So it wasn't a good day for him.
Ben Davies, Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 6. Again, a player that massively struggled, particularly with the system, had the captain's armband on the day. And to be honest, I can't believe, I think even Ryan said this to me at the game yesterday. We're sitting here, September 18th, 2024, and Ben Davies is the captain of our team, which shouldn't be the case. we should be having better quality in there, and Ben Davies probably should have been sold in the summer. However, I do think that he saved our blushes a lot in the game yesterday, particularly with that last gasp challenge where Forster just seemed to run into no man's land. There were a number of other tackles and blocks, really important tackles and blocks that he did make, but there were a lot of frailties in there from him as well, where, you know, his playing out the back, his getting caught out of position. But again, he nearly put us 1-0 up. And if he puts us 1-0 up at that moment in time, it was completely against the run of play. But you never know, we could have even won the game more comfortably.
Yeah, he nearly put us 1-0 up, but I think he was at fault for us going 1-0 down. I thought he completely let the Coventry striker get a run on him and just left him, and the guy was onside and we conceded. I thought, yes, he made that block off the line, and fair play to him. That was a really good block and a really important moment at the time. But I thought there was a number of times, especially when Ellis came on, he struggled to contain him, and Ellis was getting all sorts of encouragement from Ben Davies, and Ben Davies wasn't able to really shackle him. And a few times I thought Davies, you know, came and was trying to be aggressive, and early on he was late to a challenge, should have been booked really in the first half as well with one of the challenges he made. There was some good things he made, but I think there was way too many struggles for me to suggest there was an overall good performance. I think he still struggled overall. And yeah, I mean, he saved us, so I got to give him credit. But I thought there was a number of times, if we were lose the game 2-0 with some of the chances Coventry created, I don't think we're talking about that block off the line.
Mm-hmm. But again, it goes back to what you said about Radu, what we've been saying in the match review. I do think like those two defenders are just not suited to playing the way that I've set them up to play.
Yeah.
Next up is Destiny Udogie, who played 45 minutes, which was a pre-planned sub, 7s all round. And I love the way Udogie played. Nothing really was going down his side. He was bulldozing up the pitch with nice little 1-2s and really nice combinations. And I just thought it was a real shame, because obviously we didn't know at the time that it was a pre-planned sub. And I was bemused at half-time why Udogie did come off. But obviously Ange said that after the game, but it was a very good performance from him, probably his best of the season so far.
Yeah, I think, and that's Andrew saying, you know, he's been coming back from injury, and he actually said after the game he's not 100% fit still, so which is why it was a pre-planned sub. I didn't want to overwork him, and I think it probably worked out in terms of when Spence came on, he made a difference. But I thought Udogie in the first half was great. I thought he was the only one actually winning his one-on-one duel consistently, getting past his player, opening up space. He was doing those Udogie charges into the middle, which a bit more this game than we've seen in the Premier League so far this season. And I think in the defensively as well, he was pretty much on point. So a really solid first half from him. And obviously it was a pre-planned sub, he was taken off, but he was probably our best player in that first half.
Yeah, Rodrigo Bentancur, Sim gives him a 6, I gave him a 5. I thought he was poor, to be honest. I thought there were a couple of nice moments on the ball, and I gave him actually a mark up for that brilliant assist that he did show for Brennan Johnson's goal. Lovely pass to find Brennan in behind. But I just felt like off the ball, he just pretty much wasn't there at all. And for a number 6 in this system, you need to be bang at it off the ball. You've seen how many times we've got the likes of Bissouma, who off the ball can be a real presence at times, and Bentancur I just felt left a gaping hole in the middle of the park, and I was really frustrated with him.
Yeah, I think that he struggled to contain that Coventry player, Udogie, who was playing in the number 10 for them, and he was getting way too much space, and Bentancur wasn't really getting in position anywhere near enough. I thought on the ball, he was one of our more progressive players. He didn't really do many carries, but I think his passing was actually decent. He was the only one trying to pick out people like Bergvall between the lines and create something. And obviously he did get the assist with a really good challenge, aggressive challenge, and then really good through ball to Johnson, so he gets credit for that. I thought on the ball he was decent. Off the ball I think he really struggled and wasn't really, I think he was overrun, and he really struggled to cover as much ground as he should be able to in that position.
Still doesn't look completely fit for me. Pape Sarr, Sim gives him a 4, I gave him a 5. Just carries on his poor form from pre-season, to be honest. And I felt like it was like an opposite of Bentancur's performance, where I felt Sarr actually was good off the ball, but on the ball he was absolutely horrific. Like, he really was horrific. Every pass just seemed to go wayward.
Agreed, and he really lacked quality. when he was asked to provide moments of quality in the final third, he was either mistiming the passes, wasn't reading the passes, overhitting passes. Really, really poor from Sarr, and it's quite concerning because if he wants to find himself back in the team, he's going to have to up his technical ability because, you know, we've now got DEKI playing that position. Bergvall's now coming through as well, and these are real technical players. And Ange's system, I feel like he's gearing towards playing 2 attacking players there if we're going to make the most out of the system, and Sarr's going to have to up his attacking quality if he's going to get back in the team. And on this evidence, he might find himself out the 11 for a bit.
Yeah. Lucas Bergvall up next, 7s all round, and I thought he was the only one, particularly in the first half, that was getting on the ball, looking inventive, looking forward, trying to play those line-breaking passes and just looking for something to happen. You know, he was the only one that had any sort of forward thinking about him, which was so frustrating. At times, it just seemed like he was trying to do it all on his own, and the players were just passing it to him like he's the seasoned maestro, and he's been here for years and like playing the James Maddison role with that kind of authority, which I thought was absolutely mad. With credit to him for taking that on. But yeah, I thought it was a shame to take him off at the time that he did take him off, because I think if we had him, Maddison, DEKI all on the pitch at the same time, we could have you know, seen even more good play from him, and he definitely would have linked up with all of them really well. But yeah, he was one of them that came out of this game probably with some credit.
Yeah. The only one who looked inventive, he looked sharp, he actually looked like he wanted to move the ball forward and open up Coventry. He was the one in the middle moving around and creating space for other players and moving into the space when he saw it. And I actually thought his deliveries on a few occasions from corners and free kicks was actually quite good as well. We should have made more of them. He's clearly got a good delivery. If you remember the first game of the season, he put one on a plate for Richarlison as well. So that's something to watch out for. So I was really encouraged by his display. Maybe off the ball was the only concern. I would say maybe he could have done a bit more off the ball, but on the ball he was bright. So at the end of the day, he still didn't create much. But I think a lot of that's to do with his teammates, not his lack of trying. Yeah,
I mean, you can't expect an 18-year-old, however good he is, to just do it all on his own, and that's what we asked him to do pretty much. Wilson Odobert went off after 17 minutes, so a bit harsh to judge him here, but we've given him a 5s all round. I just don't think he had much of an impact.
Yeah, he didn't see too much of the ball, unfortunately. But yeah, he went off quite early with an injury. So I knew he got that injury tracking back as well, which is quite frustrating. But yeah, not too much to comment on. He only played 18 minutes.
Dom Solanke in the 9, 4s all round, and I thought it was an anonymous display from Dominic Solanke, and I feel like the only kind of positive things that he did do was win the ball back in the middle of the park a couple of times. He was making actually some good runs, to be fair to him, but no one seemed to spot him or you know, find his runs. But yeah, he needs to be impacting the game more, but I just felt like he had little to no service pretty much.
Yeah, for Solanke, I feel like off the ball was pretty good pressing. I think the hold-up was, okay, and could have done a bit more. Dropped deep a few occasions, but when he picked up the ball, didn't do enough with it, I feel. We need to see a bit more quality from him. I don't think he had any shots, wasn't able to get in any position to shoot. The frustrating thing for Solanke would have been that as soon as Maddison and Son come on, he's being taken off. And I do wonder, if we would have just taken Werner off at that point, put Maddison, Son on the left, could we have found Solanke in a few more positions? So I bet he's a bit frustrated with that. But again, you got to remember, as Ange said at the end of last game, he hasn't played football in a month, and maybe he's still we're still seeing the effects of that. Maybe he's not fully fit, but I thought he was a bit anonymous in this one. Unfortunately, struggled to really impact the game. And I actually thought, we'll talk about DEKI, but when DEKI went in the centre in the 9, he looked a lot more effective than Solanke did. Yeah.
Timo Werner, last of the starting 11. 2s all round for Timo. Well, pretty much you just get a 2 for getting your name put on the team sheet, to be honest. He lasted 74 minutes, and I have no idea how or why. He just didn't do anything right throughout the game. If I read you some of these stats, 0 shots, 0 successful dribbles, 3 attempted, 0 accurate crosses out of 3, 0 ground duels, 1 out of 3. And that's it. That's all he did. So I think he was absolutely shocking. And there's no one that can stick up please tell me how we can stick up for this Timo Werner signing on loan for this season if we're trying to put our attack onto the next level. He puts in disaster class after disaster class after disaster class, and this was the worst of the lot against a Coventry B team.
Yeah, and you cast your mind back to the Arsenal game on Sunday when he comes on and does that pass across the pitch straight to Jesus, and he was just doing that kind of stuff the whole game in this one. It felt like every time he had the ball, he was giving it away. He offered no threat going forward, and he actually had opportunities to offer threat. There was a number of times we found him in one-on-one situations where you just need asking him to do that, shift to the right and move on to his left foot and put the ball across the face goal. Wasn't able to do it. He was trying to link up a few times with Udogie, but he wasn't on the same wavelength and passed it out of play. A few times he was getting passes from onto the left and he was miscontrolling it and putting out for a throw. There was a moment where he cut inside a couple of players and gave the ball away and set Coventry on a counter attack, and they could have taken the lead. He was just horrendous the whole game. Wasn't able to hang on to the ball at all. I reckon he probably lost the ball more than anyone on the pitch for us. He off the ball as well, didn't offer much, wasn't really closing people down or winning tackles. It was just a proper disaster class from Timo Werner. Really terrible, really worrying performance from him. And in these kind of games where maybe last season, on our last season evidence, I would have thought in these kind of games he'd be able to make an impact. He just wasn't able to do it at all. And if anything, he was a massive liability and a massive hindrance. So I've got to say it was a shambolic performance from him.
Yeah. Moving on to the substitutes, Brennan Johnson, who came on after 18 minutes for Wilson Odobert. I felt like there was a real lack of confidence in there from Brennan for the most part of his performance. There were a number of times where he had it on the right-hand side and he could have taken on his man and he tracked back and he passed it inside or passed it back. And there was one moment where he did beat his man, but look, I think it's a player that's clearly lacking in confidence, and that showed in his goal celebration. That showed after the game where Sonny had to push him towards the fans to celebrate. And he was if he was lacking in confidence before all this social media abuse, you can see it's clearly getting into him. It really is. And look, credit to him. He's the one that won the game. He made a brilliant run in behind and a lovely dinked finish into the back of the net. But I couldn't help but feel for him after seeing that celebration, that muted celebration, and after seeing him and how Son had to push him towards the away fans. So, look, massive credit for scoring that goal in the last minute, but you can see that's a clear lack of confidence in his gameplay at the moment.
Yeah, well, Ange clearly admitted that he's not a player in high confidence right now, but hopefully that goal would have done in the world of good, albeit he didn't seem too happy after the game, but hopefully scoring the winner will help him. I did think in general he did a lot better than Timo, I felt, during the game. There was a few times where he cut inside looking to create things. He got a couple of cutbacks, but he got them wrong. At least he was getting the cutbacks. Timo didn't even get in positions to do the cutbacks a lot of the time, but I thought he didn't have a great game. I'm not going to say he came on and was incredible and whatever, but I think he was still getting to the byline. He was still trying to do things with to little avail. Lacked confidence on a few occasions, but when the big chance came to him, he made a brilliant run and he took the goal so well. It's a brilliant finish. Dinked it past the keeper. It looked really confident, that finish as well. So that's something we know he's capable of. Hopefully we get to see more of that. And really good moment for him, and hopefully that can spark a bit of confidence in him, because clearly that's something he's lacking at the moment.
Jed Spence, who came on for Udogie at half-time, 7 from Sim, 8 from me, and I thought he was brilliant. I really did. I thought from a defensive aspect on that left-hand side, he stood up to the challenge really well, a number of challenges, a number of blocks, and I think he was getting up and down really well, contributing to the attack. Obviously got the goal that got us back into the game with a really nice finish into the bottom corner with the outside of his boot. And look, I think he's proven to Ange just in this 45 minutes alone that Ange was wrong to leave him out of the Europa League squad.
Yeah, and another player I'm happy for, because after being left out of Europe, there must have been a bit of pill to swallow. So the fact that he played 45 minutes, made a good impact, really came on that left-hand side and really took the baton off from Udogie, was effective, playing in a position that isn't as natural to him probably than playing on the right-hand side, but he was making good runs. Obviously, people complain about the inverted fullbacks, but the goal probably came from him being inverted, making that run on the inside, and really good run, getting to the... You look at when DEKI, as much as a good ball from DEKI, and needed Spence to be his quickest to make sure he got there before the defender and the goalkeeper, and he did really well to squeeze himself in between both of them. Brilliant finish as well with the outside of the boot when he had to think about it very quickly, and a really good goal, and I thought he made a really good impact impact in that second half. So I'm really happy for him.
James Maddison, Sim gives him a 6, I gave him a 7. I felt he did really well in terms of when he came on and creating those space and buzzing around and just causing a bit of problems for Coventry without showing too much quality. A few nice sprays with his passes. It felt like a bit of a homecoming for him last night, where I was outside the stadium and you just saw so many Coventry fans with Maddison shirts on, so many. And then you saw him after the game going around the whole of the stadium with his Coventry shirt on and you know, tapping the banjo and all that kind of stuff. But he came on and he was part of the players that really did change the game and swing it into our favour.
Yeah, I don't think he did anything particularly special, albeit I felt obviously his role in the goal of the equaliser was really impressive. Really good flick into Kulusevski, who obviously got it through to Spence. So that was really good. I just thought his presence just upped the quality of the team, and our passing just became a bit more progressive, a bit more quicker, with a bit more intent. And we're finding ourselves in a bit more dangerous positions just because of his presence. And I felt like he made a really positive impact in the team. I don't think it was anything particularly fantastic, but I just felt him doing things that are simple for him just helped up the quality and the dynamic of the team. So he definitely helped us get back in the game.
Yeah. And last but not least of the playing staff is Son Heung-min. 6s all round for Sonny. Look, he came on, captain, leadership ability, and you saw him trying to G up his players and say, look, this it's not last but not least. There's one more player after this. So, and the most important player, by the way. But no, Sonny, I think it was just his presence as well. Like you mentioned for James Maddison, his presence just helped Spurs get up the other end and really spur them on to go and get that victory. And I felt like he dragged a few players out of position as well. And look, he didn't do anything spectacular, but it was just his sheer presence that was a real big help for us in those final 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was an odd one. He came on for Solanke and played up front for about 15 minutes, and I thought again he was a bit ineffective, didn't really get involved in the game. But I thought once DEKI came on and he moved back to the left and DEKI went in the middle, then I think he started coming a bit more alive and starting to get a bit more involved with the game, and again was making different kinds of runs and asking different questions of Coventry. So that was positive. Didn't really, he was getting to the byline a few times, but couldn't find that moment of quality to get the equaliser or anything like that. But I think he positively impacted the team much better than what Werner was offering anyway. Yeah,
absolutely. Kulusevski now, last but not least, 8s all round for DEKI. My man in the match. I thought he was brilliant when he came on. Straight away, pressing, asking questions, being a thorn in Coventry's side. And it took him probably 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, he did more than what Solanke and Werner did together for the whole time, for 70 minutes that they were on the pitch. And Kulusevski has been my player of the season so far. I think he's been consistent, he's been dangerous, he's been aggressive. He's basically given us everything that we want in this system, in that position. So I can't praise him enough, and he came on and completely changed the game yesterday.
What I loved about DEKI when he came on is he was literally doing stuff all around the pitch. Like, he literally came on for 15 minutes, and he did so much in those 15 minutes, probably more than the rest of our attacking players combined, just him. I remember on the left-hand side, he received a cutback and he got that shot, which forced a good save out of the goalkeeper. On the right-hand side, he did one of those really good spins in behind the defender, and one time he won a free kick, and the other time he got to the byline and did a really good cutback, and it was just behind Sarr, and that could have led to a really good chance. And then he moved to the centre for the last 10 minutes or so, and he got that beautiful assist for the goal, which was such a creative pass, little nutmeg, found Spence making that run, and obviously got the equaliser. That little bit of invention really was, that little bit of quality really was the difference between us going out and us going through. And I thought he just completely changed the game. He was the only one able to get on the ball and actually commit Coventry players, take them on, make something happen, and actually physically was able to not get out-muscled, and he was able to keep possession in the final third as well, bring other players into play. I thought he was excellent, and he was excellent in a number of different positions, just in a small cameo. And he's a player who's high on confidence. You can clearly see that. He's willing to try things. Things are coming off for him. He just needs a few more goal contributions for his good play, because he's playing so well. But that assist was brilliant, and he made such a positive impact, and he probably won us the game.
Yeah, he most definitely did. And last but not least, Ange Postecoglou. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 5. And yeah, I was disappointed with Ange yesterday, to be honest. I felt like he didn't set us up well enough to win the game. I don't think, I said before the game, I don't want to see Werner playing and I don't want to see Forster playing, and those were the two players that really let us down last night massively. There were others as well, but I felt like those two put in the biggest disaster classes of them all. I don't think there was any need to play Fraser Forster yesterday, and Timo Werner, I can understand why he played him, but I just wouldn't have played him. I just don't think he's good enough, and that showed yesterday. If you're going to play Ben Davies and Radu Dragusin at centre-backs, you have to adapt the system and you have to drop a bit deeper. He didn't do that, and he played players that are not fit and are not, ready to play this kind of, or not adept to play this kind of way. And it's setting us up for failure. And we were very lucky we weren't 2 or 3 or even 4 down by the time all our players came on. But however, we weren't, and he brought on the players to win the game, so he's got to get credit for that. But I just felt like he set us up to fail a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, I think the team selection, I think if you're going to play the way we play, you have to have one of Romero or Van de Ven there. You can't drop both of them, and he did drop both of them, or rest both of them, I should say. And that was a bit of a recipe for disaster. I think the Fraser Forster, I don't know whether it's in his contract he has to play cup games or what, but he played him and he was horrific, and he nearly cost us the game as well. But I would say, obviously, he made the changes that needed to be made late in the game. Spence obviously came on at half-time and he got the equaliser. DEKI, his manoeuvring really helped. And obviously, Brennan Johnson, who that was a substitution forced by injury, but obviously he came on, he scored the winning goal as well. And the changes late in the game worked. But I also thought I had a few problems with his changes. I felt like when he brought on Son and Maddison, he took off Bergvall and he took off Solanke, where I just felt like he should have taken off Werner and he should have taken off Sarr, and I think the technical level would have gone up. I think the control level would have gone up, and I think we wouldn't have made such a hard fist of winning that game. We could have maybe done a bit better, or maybe won it early if you made those kind of subs. I don't know what was enforced in terms of when it comes to injuries and tiredness, fatigue, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, I'm not privy to all that information, but I'm just judging it from what I saw on the pitch. Definitely why he picked Solanke and Bergvall to come off rather than Werner and Sarr, I don't know. And that sub could have cost us the game if DEKI didn't come on and save our skin.
Yeah. No, I can't disagree with that. And there was clear frustration in the away end yesterday. Boos at half-time and boos when Bergvall did go off. And I feel like we got lucky that, like you say, Bergvall going off, playing so well. Just imagine if he had those creative players that he could have, made those combinations with. We maybe would have won the game a bit more comfortably.
Yeah,
but
I'm looking forward to Bergvall actually getting some game time, with a Maddison and DEKI, because I think that'll really help his game, having people on his wavelength near him.
And I just hope he doesn't go with these kind of teams in the Europa League group stages. I mean, I don't mind majority of the players, but I just don't want to see Timo. I don't want to see a back two of Ben Davies and Dragusin, and I don't want to see Fraser Forster in goal.
Agreed, because otherwise we're screwed.
Yeah.